Okay, so today I'm going to be responding to the overwhelming amount of requests I've had about a lot of the excuses people use for not training. And so the theme of this is nobody gets a pass. And before I get into that, make sure that you get to surviveviolence.com, give us your email. That way you can get into the masterclass. You get a free masterclass there. Nothing charged, just a free masterclass. And it also keeps you up to date with all the latest information that we have going on in the channel, any of the subject matter experts that you hear on the channel, and also any products that are coming out by anybody that we think are relevant. So it's the way that we can keep in touch with you, and we never sell the information. And it also ensures that should anybody get deplatformed, we will still be able to get you the information, by signing up there. So please do that. So listen, today's just going to be quick. It's just a quick thing. I just get this overriding theme, and usually it's like this. It is, hey Tim, I am 100 pounds overweight. Hey Tim, I have a really bad knee. Hey Tim, I'm just old and frail. Hey Tim, I'm a small female and I have no strength. Hey Tim, I've got a bad back. And these are all used as some sort of an excuse for not learning about self-protection, or kind of just telling yourself, hey, I'm taking myself even out of the mix. There's nothing I can do. The cold, hard reality is this. Everything that was just, put whatever your reason is for not training, whatever physical ailment you have, whatever, limitation that you have, that doesn't give you a pass when it comes to violence. As a matter of fact, it makes you profile as even a more opportune victim to a predator. So whatever limitation you're talking about is even more of a reason for you to really understand, predatory violence and how it works and how you can minimize the chance of it ever coming into your life. So I understand what you're doing. A lot of times people are looking for that magic thing. Some of the most popular videos I have are the injury videos. And that's where I like, something like the best knockout nobody knows. And people love that. It's where I'm talking about, striking the side of the neck, interrupting blood flow, nerve flow, causing the person either to have a concussion or the person to faint. And people were treating that oftentimes as like some magic talisman. It's like, oh, hey, thanks so much. That's all I need. If that's what you're getting out of this, you really don't understand the information, the principles and methods that we're trying to put out in this channel. The reason I bring you so many different voices is so, I understand that even though I think I may communicate the best when it comes to, your self-protection, there are lots of other credible voices out there, and I want you to hear from them because maybe they will resonate with you, because your self-protection is just that. It's yours. And it's really important. And the most dangerous thing that you have to understand is what you put in your head. If you tell yourself there is nothing I can do, then that will be your truth. Basically everything we tell ourselves until we actually have to do it is, we're essentially lying to ourselves. Why would we put a negative lie? Why would we tell ourselves we have no options? Why not look? There's many different ways that you can protect yourself. It's not just physical. And again, the methods and principles that we discuss on this channel are designed to take advantage of a predator who doesn't think you can hurt them. Everything that I try to do is to give you information that works when we assume that you have multiple attackers, that those attackers will be bigger, faster, and stronger than you by quite a bit. And also we'll assume that all those attackers will carry tools, they'll have weapons. Okay? Now, does that mean we always train to physically take on that? No, that's the last thing I want for you. But I do want to give you principles and methods that can help you minimize that, how to think about it, talking about your situational awareness, why certain things are important, how your behavior, and, understanding that you can't operate with the idea that I wish the world was this way, how dangerous that type of stuff is. I point you to good sources, good books that you can read, programs that you can get into that don't have to always physically train. Do I think you should physically train? Absolutely. Everybody should understand that. Should you understand where on the human body you get the biggest result to put an injury on them and what the value of injury is? Yes, absolutely. It's like learning to use that fire extinguisher. You hope to God you never have a fire, but if so, you want to know how to operate the thing. It's the same thing. This is like a CPR class, okay? It's something that you can learn in a fairly short amount of time that's highly effective, but it's only useful in the most extreme circumstances. And it certainly doesn't make you a doctor if you know CPR. But learning self-protection, enough self-protection to save your own life, is very different than doing a lifelong study like I do, where I'm an instructor, I'm a master instructor. I've been doing it for years, training tens of thousands of people, all that. You don't have to achieve that for your self-protection, nor do you have to be a physical, phenom to be able to do it. Many people who had a lot of the challenges that I just outlined, that a lot of you send into me all the time, were able to protect themselves because they could think and move, and they understood where to put their effort, and they were able to get an injury, or they were able to recognize that a situation was going bad, which is what I prefer, and get themselves out of there long before it ever got to the point to where they needed to use physical protection methods. So yes, the pursuit and the study of this information, when you need it, nothing is more invaluable than that. And if you don't have it, you couldn't have paid enough for it. So take advantage of this and stop putting in your mind that you are unable to protect yourselves. Yes, it may be a different method. I'm older. I'm getting older now. Okay, I'm a senior trainer now, I would say. Still very fit. I still, I can still, I'm as good as I once was, once. But I can't do it as much as I used to. I'm very realistic about that. And so, yeah, my training methodologies have changed as I've got older. I do a lot more training with tools. I spend a lot of time with firearms training. I spend a lot of times with my knives and my other, improvised weapons, just because I know I'm going to need those physical advantages as I get older. But I also am very aware of my situational awareness and also minimizing the chance of violence ever coming into my life, how I conduct myself, how I I'm very aware of all these things. And I'm hoping that some of the interviews that I'm bringing you are starting to change your behavior patterns. But I've been getting an awful lot lately from people who are trying to find a pass. They're trying to just reach out to me and say, hey, is it okay if I don't do any of this stuff or I don't learn anything because, this is my excuse? You can conduct yourself in whatever way you want. You can give yourself whatever excuses you want. What I will tell you is, and just trust me for me doing this all these times, none of those reasons that you're giving for not looking at your self-protection needs and not to train up to your best of your ability is a reason or a meaning of you ever getting a pass when it comes to violence. And that's just a reality. So please keep sending your questions in. A great way for you to start, a great no-cost way for you to start this process is going to surviveviolence.com, get that free masterclass. It'll start the process. You don't have to spend money right away, but you do have to put some time into this, and you do have to change the way you look at the subject. So stop focusing on your limitations and start focusing on what you can do, because that alone will make a big change in how you look at the world and how you are being more proactive rather than reactive when it comes to your self-protection. All right, until next time, be safe.